Hi, welcome to the Brown Lounge. This afternoon we're making ice cream cake, Ben & Jerry's style. In fact, I'm wearing tie-dye because I'm giving a little bit of acknowledgement to the Ben & Jerry's fashion style, which is definitely all about tie-dye. You know, I don't know if you realize, but a Ben & Jerry's ice cream cake actually has no cake in it. We used to own a couple of Ben & Jerry's stores years ago, and one of my favorite things to do when I worked in the stores was to make the cakes. And making the cakes is several steps, but it's fun. Actually, you can engage the kids and have the kids be a part of it too. It's really about assembly and then also creating a really delicious freshly whipped cream frosting. So I'm going to just talk about all of the things that go into a cake. And then I'll show you how to make it. We'll do it in 2 steps. So first I'll show you how to do the layers of the cake, and then I'll show you how to do the whipped cream frosting, which is really delicious. And if you're into being a little artsy, I'll show you how to do a little decoration as well. So the first thing I want to start with is just to say that you know, the cake is all about layering ice cream and cookies or brownies as the layering components inside that would otherwise be cake. So what we've got here is I've made some fresh chocolate chip cookies. I've made a Toll House recipe, but you can also buy cookies off the shelf as long as they're soft and malleable, and you'll be able to see why that's important in just a moment. And then I also made a brownie mix. You can make them from scratch. I actually used a Ghirardelli brownie mix to make these, and they're delicious. And then we just, you know, our favorite ice cream flavors are, well, a variety. Different people in the family have different favorites. My husband's favorite is fish food. This is a chocolate base with marshmallow, caramel, and some chocolate chunks in it. Chunky Monkey is a banana flavored ice cream with walnuts and chocolate chunks. Vanilla Heath Bar Crunch is just what it says, vanilla with Heath Bar. And then Cherry Garcia is a delicious cherry flavored ice cream with cherry chunks and chocolate in it. So what I personally like to keep the chocolate flavors sort of together with a brownie sort of center, and then I like to keep the vanilla flavors together with the cookie. So let's get started. I'm going to put these down, and we're going to get started with fish food. So the way you layer this thing is, first of all, you take a regular cake pan. This is a 9-inch cake pan, and you just scoop out the first part of the ice cream. Now, the thing that's important is that you need to have the ice cream be pretty soft and malleable, more soft than the way you would actually serve it in a scoop, because you want to be able to get it all out of the pint. And this bottom layer is going to take 2 pints of fish food. We're just going to take it all out of the pint just like that, and we're going to push it down. In fact, I'm not going to use the scoop to push down. I'm actually going to use this spoon. And basically what you want to do, it's a little bit funky in the beginning. It's a little bit hard because you don't want to let the ice cream melt so much that it's liquidy. That's not good. In fact, one thing about ice cream, especially when you're using super premium ice cream, which is what Ben & Jerry's is, Haagen-Dazs is also a super premium, and there are others, is that you do not want to let ice creams get very liquidy, melty, and then put them back and refreeze. That's when you get the crystals on the ice cream, and that's it makes it not taste good and not fresh. So the key with your ice cream cake here is that you want to get it soft enough that you can actually turn it into a layer and have it all be flat, but not so soft that you've got a lot of liquid in there. So that's the trick. And this one's actually a little bit harder than that first one was, but that's okay. We're just going to squeeze it right out of there. Use our scooper. This definitely can be messy, but that's okay. Messy's all good. What we're going to do after this is we're going to basically take 2 pints of ice cream to make the bottom layer, and then we're going to take pieces of brownie, and we're going to cover this bottom layer all up with brownie pieces. And that will become the bottom layer of the cake. And what you want to do is, once that bottom layer is created, you want to set it back in the freezer. And when it gets hard enough to start the next layer, and you can kind of see as I'm doing this that you wouldn't be able to put a secondary layer of ice cream down because it would push this first layer down. So that's why the bottom layer has to be really nice and frozen before you start again on the second layer. There we go. You know, that doing this so reminds me of my days of working in the Ben & Jerry's scoop shops. We used to have our kids working in the shops and their friends from high school. It was really, really fun, and definitely ate a lot of ice cream. Okay, so I think you can see that we've got a nice bottom layer. So I'm just going to flatten it out because we do want it to be pretty straight and flat before we start layering it with brownie. There we go. Nice. Okay, so that's nice and flat. Then I have this this device here, and this is a great one for just very easily getting this nice kind of brownie layer, like that. And then literally we just put the brownie around the edge, and it doesn't have to fill in every single nook and cranny. Because once this ice cream sets and it's hard, it's all just going to be one unit. But what you do want to do is you want to make sure that you've got enough brownie in there that it does create that middle layer, and that there's brownie in every bite. In addition to having the little squares that I'm cutting here, you can also just crumble it. In fact, it's a great way to use sort of the additional pieces of brownies that inevitably sort of turn into little nuggets as opposed to actual pieces. Especially these brownies. These brownies are really moist, which is wonderful. These cakes definitely want to have a moist center in them. There we go. Get a little bit more. So essentially, we want to get this all filled up, and you can see as I keep going, it's not perfectly filled in. This is really a really rich cake. That's the other thing. With this really rich ice cream, and with these very rich ingredients as the middle layers, it'll be just delicious. So I'm gonna, you sort of get the idea there. I want to show you how I did this one with the chocolate chip cookies. So I started with the fish food layer, did the brownies. On this one, I started with the vanilla Heath Bar Crunch layer, and then I added the cookies. And you can see what a nice, presentation that is. And then what you'll do on the second layer, I'm just going to move this over for 1 minute. On the second layer, I'm going to take the Chunky Monkey, and I'll get that going, and essentially do the same thing that I did on the first layer, which is I get all the ice cream out. Again, all told, these ice cream cakes will take nearly, well, not nearly, 4 pints. And you can see that it's very important that that second layer is firmly braced on that first layer, because that first layer is even moving around a little bit right now, because I was letting it sit out while I did the demo for the first layer. But essentially, you complete this layer, get all your ice cream in there. I'm going to need a whole nother pint. And then you do the same thing. You smoothen it out so that it's all topped off, and then you do another layer of cookies. So just to show you what that would look like, I'll just kind of get it started here so you can see it. So I would put the secondary layer on as well, but I'm just going to show you what it would look like. So I just take the cookies, and again, I don't use the whole cookie because I just want to have, just enough to fill in the spaces, but just not have to have it be so much that it's, perfectly covering everything. So that's really what it's going to look like. And I'll finish this other layer as well. As soon as I've got all of that finished, and I finish putting my brownie bites on this layer as well, I'm just going to put them in the freezer. And then when they're done, I'll show you how to turn this out so that you can actually have your cake, and show you how to, oops, got water in my face. And then I'm going to show you how to create a wonderful whipped cream frosting with a chocolate fudge kind of decoration on it. So catch us back in the second portion of this, and we'll show you the next part.